by having this opportunity, it opened up doors for me that I didn't even know existed and introduced me to people and opportunities that have propelled me forward, not only in my military career, but my academic career as well.
Bold ideas, inspiring stories, dynamic experiences. I'm your host, Dr. John Anderson, president of PennWest. Welcome to the Power of PennWest podcast. Welcome back to the Power of PennWest podcast. Today's episode is a special tribute in honor of Veterans Day. Across our campuses, military service and academic excellence walk hand in hand. In this episode, we're proud to spotlight three extraordinary members of the PennWest family whose journeys reflect the deep connection between service and scholarship. You'll hear from a faculty member whose experience as an Army parachutist shaped her approach to leadership and learning. We'll sit down with a student trustee, a Naval Reserve member and pre-med student who's balancing military duty with a passion for healing. And we'll meet an ROTC cadet who led Edinburgh's team at the 36th Bataan Memorial Death March in New Mexico, honoring the legacy of endurance and remembrance. Their stories are powerful reminders that service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. It continues in the classroom, communities, and careers. With that introduction, we will welcome our three guests. We have Dr. Mary Kreis with us today, Timothy John, and Jake Stahl. Welcome to the three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. I look forward to this conversation, and I love Veterans Day. I want to begin by saying thanks to each of you for serving or making a commitment to serve this fine country of ours. And I'm grateful for the chance it is to talk about your service a little bit. Let's begin by getting to know Dr. Kreis a little bit. Mary, if you don't mind, you are a sport management and exercise science professor in your 21st year at PennWest.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for having me today. It's quite an honor, and your introduction of the other members of our podcast today just gave me goosebumps. So I'm very honored to be a part of this, and I'm thrilled to be a member of the PennWest faculty for 21 years, as you said. I was in the Army Reserves when I came to PennWest and felt always supported in my military career as well as my academic career. And I served 18 years in the military, going to Airborne school, Air Assault school, Master Fitness Trainer school. And it was that school that opened my eyes to a career in sport and exercise science. And that's when I decided to pursue my PhD using my GI Bill. So I can't highlight that enough, what the military does to support our members in academics. And after becoming a professor, I was able to compete on the military pentathlon team in the summers and travel to Europe to represent the United States in a NATO competition that involved 5 events, including a swim obstacle course, wearing full fatigues, as well as a land obstacle course, an orienteering course, and then shooting a pistol and rifle that were models from the country we were competing in. So quite a unique competition. And following my service in the military, I have been working with various veterans groups. One, I serve on the board of Reveille and Retreat, which is a women's organization to support women's veterans. And then I just ran across the United States in May with a group of 12 military veterans carrying the American flag 24 hours a day. So each one of us was responsible for running for 2 hours a day. And we ran from San Diego to Washington, D.C. in 16 days and raised over $1 million for veterans programs. And then finally, on my own, I've raised over $15,000 for homeless veterans by basically standing outside of Walmart for 24 hours at a time and asking for donations, financial donations, as well as donations as far as socks and T-shirts and soup and other things that our homeless veterans need in the Pittsburgh area. So I'm honored to be with you today and honored to continue to serve our veterans as a veteran myself.
Thank you very much for that. And there is so much to unpack in what you just reviewed. I look forward to hearing all these details. In fact, you make me want to go back and earn a degree in sport management and exercise science. I would love to sit as a student in your class. I bet
Thank
your students
you.
enjoy hearing about those experiences.
Yes, thank you.
And I love the fact that you not only served in the military, but you've continued to serve the military members since. It
Yes.
shows your
Yeah.
commitment to not only the cause of the country, but the people who carry out that cause. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next, let's get to know Timothy John a little bit. Timothy, you and I have spent a lot of time together as you're a member of our PennWest Council of Trustees. I've gotten to know you quite a bit, and I look forward to introducing you to the campus community. Share with us a little bit about your story. You serve in the U.S. Navy Reserve, and you've done a lot of things there. You're a pre-med student here in Clarion, but tell us a little bit about your experience and why you picked the direction you did.
All right, thank you, Dr. Anderson. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to Dr. Kreis and Jake for this opportunity to share this platform with you guys. As I would say, my Navy career is really short, or I've just started my career. It's been about 3 years since I've joined the Navy Reserve, and I'm a hospital corpsman in the Navy Reserve. I chose the Navy or just the military in general for some sort of discipline in my life because looking back, like my high school or like middle school, I've never felt that sense of purpose and direction. And knowing that I wanted to pursue a career in medicine, I figured something such as discipline is a vital role that I need in my life. And choosing the military was one of my compelling options for the sole reason that I could get some discipline out of it. I'm happy to report that it did help me with that. And as I'm walking through this path, this past 3 years and the years to come, I can very happily say that that few months with training with all kinds of people, be it basic or my training in hospital corpsman school in Texas, in both those places, I was really welcome to a new environment. It was a shock to go through all that process, but coming out of it and looking back into it, I'm very thankful that I was able to take that step. As a hospital corpsman, my duties and responsibilities rely on taking care of the Navy sailors and also Marines. Unfortunately, I've not been on the Marine side of the house yet, and I'm looking forward to getting opportunities on that side of the house. But yeah, these past 2 years, I was able to serve in Great Lakes as a hospital corpsman, helping new ROTC candidates as well as Navy sailors that are coming into boot camp. And I was able to run and help run their clinic as well. And as a pre-med student here in Clarion, I'm still able to have this role as a U.S. Navy sailor, but continue that in the classroom by using all those things that I learned and applying that discipline into my life as a student, which has very well reflected in my career here in Clarion.
Thank you very much, Timothy. And I look forward to hearing a lot of people hear about boot camp. You've been through that experience. We'll get into that in just a minute, but thank you for joining us. Let's meet our last guest for today, Jake Stahl. Jake, you and I have had a chance to talk on a number of occasions around your ROTC service and shot the cannon a few times every time Matt Scott's team scores up there in Edinburgh. That's a great memory and a lot of fun. Tell us about your decision to join the ROTC and what that's meant to you.
Right, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on here for this opportunity you've given me. Going into kind of my overall experience with the military, I'd say it's been very positive. The choice really came down to opportunities for me. It influenced much more than just that. My choice to come to PennWest, my choice to go to Edinburgh out of all the three campuses. Ultimately, it also affected my choice for ROTC and many of the choices I continue to make in my life today. I like having opportunities. I was presented with this in high school. That's where I first joined into the military service during my junior year of high school back in March. Went to basic that same summer, and I learned everything I could do with the Army. That really opened my eyes up to the world, to the possibilities I have out there. ROTC specifically being one of them is something I learned a lot about during my time down in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Spent about 10 weeks down there. Moving forward after that, getting into my senior year, really just looking into what can I do going into the future after my high school career to continue what I've established here, to continue to look for those opportunities and continue to look for growth. And I think PennWest has 100% well endowed me to be able to do those things, to be able to look into my own future potential and be able to tap into what I know I'm capable of. It's been fantastic here, especially with Edinburgh ROTC, all the opportunities I've been given. To mention a few, ROTC has given me air assault. That's something I never thought I'd be doing. Dr. Kreis mentioned that, something that I never thought what I would be able to say that I'm an air assault graduate. And through ROTC and PennWest, I was able to accomplish something like that, a mountain for myself just a few years ago, something I was able to conquer through the opportunities I've been given. We've also been able to do color guard events for various levels of sporting events. Fantastic opportunity that I never thought I would be able to achieve, being able to stand on either an NFL field during game time or during on an NBA court during game time. Two fantastic opportunities that I don't think I would otherwise had if I had not joined ROTC, if I had not come to PennWest, come to Edinburgh, and looked at the opportunities that has been able to afford me and it has been able to give to me. So really fantastic things that I'm able to do with ROTC through the opportunities that this school, the Army, and this administration have been able to provide for me.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Jake. And I look forward to hearing about this grueling 36th Baton Memorial Death March here in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But before we jump into the military side of your service, Dr. Kreis, if you could take just a minute. We have two guests here that are on the opposite end of the military experience where you are. You had the chance to serve nearly a couple decades and learn a lot. What advice would you give to our two other guests as they're starting their military careers?
Well, Dr. Anderson, I truly believe they're already on a great course. They're taking advantage of opportunities that exist. They're asking questions. They're following through with obligations. These are all the words of advice that I would give them. And they've already given us examples of things that they have accomplished at this young age. And I just encourage them to continue to do that. Ask for the opportunities. If you know about them, go for it. For example, Jake and I have both talked about Air Assault School. The only way I got to go to Air Assault School is I walked in the door and said, how can I get orders to come to Air Assault School? So I was already at Fort Rucker, Alabama for another educational opportunity in the military and thought, I want to be Air Assault. I have to make this happen for myself. Yes, I have to ask for permission. I have to seek that opportunity, but you have to look out for yourself in this professional organization of the military. So they're well on their way to achieving much more.
Well, it's so impressive to me that both of them were self-aware enough to say, I've got a gap in my life and my learning. I want to fill it. And here's the military, and here's what's going to do to fill that gap. That is a really impressive thing to be able to say at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old. Very impressive, both of you. Let's jump into this. We mentioned now 4 or 5 times, Air Assault School. Talk to us what a school is in the military, and then jump in to describe air assault. Dr. Kreis, if you could start with us, then Jake, if you want to jump in with any details.
Sure. I think Jake and I both need to say air assault.
Air assault, yeah. I was waiting for it.
So Air Assault School consists of many different things. And Jake should probably tell us more about it because he's done it more recently. But for me, it was a 2-week-long school. And what that means is that you are going to a different location outside of your normal military duty. You will be stationed there temporarily to receive both educational, like classroom type training, as well as in the field type of training. And so it's a rigger type of school, meaning that we learn to rig everything from a Humvee, which is a Jeep, to large loads of equipment, to a helicopter. So a lot of math, a lot of calculations need to be done, a lot of memory comes into this. And then once you have determined how to load these things for the helicopter, you're learning to guide in the helicopter. So the helicopter is relying on you to land. So you have to know these hand-arm signals and judging everything from the weather to the environment, the ground, and the people around you. And then finally, probably the most exciting part about it is rappelling from helicopters. So I had the opportunity to not only rappel, which means we don't take the long rope, but there's rappel masters that have rigged a long rope to the helicopter. And when the helicopter is hovering, you are sliding basically backwards down a rope to the ground. And you can also do that, what we call Australian type of rappelling, which is forward, so face down from the helicopter. So you're standing on the skids of a helicopter, taking one of the biggest risks of your life and trusting everyone around you. And it's a great tool and opportunity to learn trust in your fellow soldier. And Jake can probably add more current information to that. And I'm curious to see if it stayed the same.
That's great, Jake. What was that experience like for you?
For me, it sounds very similar. It sounds like what worked in the past is what works now. One thing about Air Assault School specifically is they don't concede on the standards. The standard is the standard down there. They will let you know that, of course. They will make sure that you are living up to the standard. And if you don't, fortunately, you're not getting your wings. Something about Air Assault School is a very high attrition rate. It really takes a lot of a very balanced overall personality matrix to be able to get through Air Assault. You can't just be the strong silent type. You have to have the brain smarts too. You have to be loud, be proactive with your learning. Make sure you're managing your time well during the downtime you have. Really using the time that you have to the best of its value. But ultimately, I think the best thing about Air Assault is it's a skill. It's a perishable skill. And something for me that I was able to resonate very strongly with is the fact that this isn't just a skill for me. This is a skill for everyone in the Army. I was told very specifically, with me being a cadet, that I need to go back to my school and encourage my fellow cadets to participate in anything that has to do with this, any sort of extra Army opportunities, extra training value, to encourage them to do that and train them on these operations. Sharing those skills among my fellow cadets is something I already have done, encouraging them to learn how to do something called a Swiss hip rappel seat, encouraging them to their rucking ability to be more fit to do Army tasks, knots, things such as that. It's really helped me to be able to understand what the whole point of kind of really being in the Army, the idea of teamwork, that this wasn't just, even though it was an individual school, it wasn't just for me. The expectation was after graduation that I would go back to my school, back to Edinburgh, and continue to perpetuate those skills and perpetuate that standard of excellence among my peers. So that was really probably the best part that I got out of Air Assault, even for my own Army career, to be able to go off and be successful long after I'm done here with Edinburgh.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Jake. So for those listeners who may not be familiar with the military, let's take a few steps back. And Timothy, let's go to you next. When you decided that military was the path that was going to fill this gap in your life, you were going to be able to serve, you walk into a recruiter's office, you sign some documents, and 10 minutes later, you're in boot camp, or how does that work? And talk to us a little about boot camp, Timothy.
So this is, I think for me, like looking back, this was the most traumatizing part. Not even like boot camp, but like getting there and the first few days. The process for me was like really rushed. If I had to say, I just graduated high school. It's been a couple of days and I was at work, and then I randomly met a recruiter. And if you happen to speak to a couple of our people, this is how all their stories goes. And then suddenly she was like, all right, do you want to chat? You seem like you'd be interested. And then obviously for me, that was like, wow, this is the door that I've never thought of walking into. Why don't I just hear her out and see what's up? And then we started talking, and then I found out that there's this incredible opportunity to serve as a hospital corpsman for the Navy Reserve, where I could still continue going to school, just take a little break by going through all the training, basic, and stuff like that. So right after that, within a month, I was already signed up to go to boot camp. 20-something days later, I'm on the flight to Chicago from Pittsburgh, and I fly there, and we land. They secluded us into this one area in the airport. And before you know it, there are all these sailors that are coming and yelling at us. And then we just hop on the bus, and then we enter the building. And then I vividly remember this. The second we got out the bus, they started yelling, and then we all had to run and like form a single file line. And then we had like 30 seconds to make a phone call to let our parents know that we're safe and we're in Chicago. And no contact from here on out. Maybe a few throughout the next 10 weeks. Right after that is when like you go through the next like the first week where it's like in doc where they like get all our information. They kind of tell us like this is what you expect in boot camp. And then we do our shots and we do all the medical screening that we are supposed to do. And then once that week one is done, then you officially begin boot camp, going through this training and the salarization process. So this process is basically where they break you down as a civilian and build you up as a sailor. And I think this goes for all the armed forces too, because they want to impart that knowledge of what it is to be a person in the military. Dr. Kreis mentioned this, and this is very important because without trust, we cannot work as a unit because we are going to be in moments of high distress and high tensions. And without going through this training, it's going to be really hard for us to excel in those situations, no matter how much we train. That's why I feel like as a civilian, you walk in there, everyone is yelling at you. You have no idea because you didn't do anything wrong. You just signed up to serve the country. But then you're like, why am I feeling like, why is this a hostile environment? But it's not, because they are trying to impart that type of knowledge that can only be done in a certain type of way, which is why I think basic often sounds traumatizing to a lot of people. But looking back to it, the type of learning that is experienced in that environment is unmatched. And I look back at it and I laugh in the way I handle things and stuff like that. But looking back, just going through basic and meeting all the people in those environments, the type of relationship I have with my friends that I met in boot camp is unmatched. I can call them any time of the day or night and let them know, hey, I'm going through this. And then we can always work it out. And that type of relationship, I think, is incredible. And it can only be gotten out of the military.
That's an excellent review. Thank you, Timothy. It's neat to hear you talk about not only the physical challenge, but the psychological development and how that's built into the system to help you think in different ways. So let's go to Timothy and Jake for just a minute. Each of you are kind of on different paths. Timothy, you're in the reserves, and Jake, you're in ROTC. Can each of you tell us a little bit about those paths and how they're different? Jake, why don't you start with describing the ROTC experience?
Absolutely. With me, I'm a little bit unique. I'm part of something called the Simultaneous Membership Program. This is something that we afford our National Guard and Reserve cadets to be able to do, where they are part of a Reserve/National Guard unit. And every week, every month, one weekend throughout the year, and then 2 weeks in the summer, you go out and do training with the National Guard. But then while school's in session, during the semester, fall and spring, you'll be expected to do your ROTC cadet duties. And that's something that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of, to be able to see both sides of the house, be part of both of those worlds, kind of see what the National Guard side of things are, how they do it, compare and contrast to how we do it over here with ROTC. For the most part, though, ROTC is it's a learning experience. It's all training. There is operational side to things, but for the most part, it's all training. It kind of gives the misconception that us as seniors or as juniors that we're always in charge, that we're the ones that say what goes on. And for the most part, we are, but we're also learning. We're also training. We're learning new things, learning things about ourselves, about the Army, about how things are supposed to be. And it's ultimately all building towards that rank, the rank of an officer, a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. And no matter what they do, no matter who you are, what your experiences have been, how you are as a cadet, how you are with ROTC, eventually you will be building to that larger thing, to a commission as a U.S. Army officer, and ultimately be in charge of people. The words that you say and the decisions you make do have an effect on people's lives. And it's really building towards that idea that you are going to be a leader, that you are going to be in charge of people. You are going to affect other people's lives. And that's kind of goes into every facet of the training we do here with ROTC. It's a little more laid back than Mr. John probably explained about boot camp or basic training, but that's by design. We like to give a more soft pitch, so to speak, about what this is. We're here to train leaders, people that are going to positively affect others, positively affect our soldiers and our younger generations of Americans, to be able to do great things out there, to be able to do positive things, and ultimately build towards a larger overall mission.
Thank you very much, Jake. Timothy, talk to us a little about your role in the reserve and what your requirements are right now.
So, as a hospital corpsman in the reserve, like Jake mentioned, my duties are go to drill once a month during a weekend. And then yearly once, we have a minimum obligation of 14 days to serve. Either in the summer, we are allowed to pick our time, but like usually it's done around the summer, and we can do a minimum of 14 to a maximum of 29 days. And we will go to a base that is given to us, and we can choose the location, and we'll be able to go and serve as our hospital corpsman. For me personally, so the reserve is very different from active duty. And I'm specifically talking about the enlisted side of things. I don't know much about ROTC with the Navy, considering it is a smaller branch compared to the Army. So in the reserve, there's leadership and there's a chain of command on how things get passed down from the CEO all the way down to a sailor. But oftentimes, as a sailor in the reserve, you are in charge of your own training schedule. You're in charge of making sure you go to drill. You're in charge of making sure you meet the requirements of the 14 days. You're in charge of making sure all your trainings are on date and things of that nature. Oftentimes, as the leadership, they will send a email out saying, hey, this has to be done, this has to be done, make sure all these are done. And when you're in the active duty side of things, there's always someone with you all the time, guiding you through all these directions in person and making sure that you're helped. With the reserve side of things, you're often expected to reach out from your side and make sure you meet all these requirements, which could be frustrating, but it's very fulfilling when you find out and do all these things, because like Dr. Kreis mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities that are hidden in those areas that people don't know until they reach out. For example, a year and a half ago, at this time, I was still an E3, which at this, like as an E3, they don't give much responsibilities because you're still considered a young sailor who doesn't know much about the Navy and that sort of thing. When I first entered my unit in Great Lakes, I reached out to one of the senior enlisted leaders and asked them, hey, I'm interested in this one opportunity that you have as the training petty officer. Is this something that I could apply? I don't know. I know it says the requirement is E4 or above. I'm only E3, but I'm really interested, and I think this would be good because I finally understand how the reserve works, and I want to help people understand and make that process easy, either for people coming into reserve or people transitioning from active duty into reserve. And turns out he was really happy that I reached out, and I've been serving as the training petty officer for the past year and a half. And that just shows that they're always willing to give opportunities, but then they'll only present that when you reach out, because that initiation and effort is something that is very valuable in the reserve.
That's excellent. It's fun to see another example when raising your hand matters a lot and reaching out matters a lot. That's a great lesson. Dr. Kreis, let's go to you for just a minute and take us back to the time you were 18 or 19 or whenever that was, when you said the military is going to be part of my path. What was that decision like for you?
I was 17 years old and I thought I wanted to be in the Navy. So a similar recruiting story, went to the recruiting office and the Navy guys were not there. Went back again, they weren't there again, but the Army guys were there. The Army recruiters were there every single time. So they kind of got to know me. And they talked to me about this opportunity of ROTC, which is actually unique because recruiters are not normally the people that offer ROTC opportunities, but they gave me the ROTC scholarship. And I looked into that and realized that this was a great opportunity for me at 17. I'll be honest, my parents were getting a divorce. I had questions about where I wanted to go to school and how I was going to pay for that. And I was able to earn a 4-year ROTC scholarship at any school in the United States that had that Army ROTC program. So I chose the University of Virginia. And for me, we met a week early before school started, and these have become my lifelong friends, just like Tim and Jake have said. This ROTC program became my fraternity, my sorority, my everything. I poured myself into drill team, to the Ranger Battalion, which is something that females had not done before. And then that led to opportunities like Airborne School, which is jumping out of airplanes, and Master Fitness Trainer School, which is leading others in physical fitness. So by having this opportunity, it opened up doors for me that I didn't even know existed and introduced me to people and opportunities that have propelled me forward, not only in my military career, but my academic career as well.
That's excellent. Let's go down this path just a little bit. That is a pretty powerful decision to make at the age of 17.
Yeah.
To walk into a recruiter's office and say, this is what I want, and get that education about what it might look like. But you have had some tremendous experiences people may not be familiar with. We talked about Air Assault School already. Talk to us about Airborne Parachutist, how you become one of those. Go into a little detail about Master Fitness Trainer and what that experience was like. Talk to us a little about that part of your career.
Okay, so after my first year of college, now your first year of college in ROTC, you could actually quit at that point, and you would not owe anything back to the government, to the federal government, to the Army. You get a trial year. So that's something that all freshmen should know about. So it's an opportunity that some people may want to take to try out ROTC see if it is for you, because we do want to encourage people to take a look at it, and it may not be for everyone. So I discovered it was for me, and it's that discipline that our fellow podcast members have mentioned. It's the teamwork, it's the endurance, the perseverance that I enjoyed. I enjoyed being tasked with hard things. Hard stuff makes you tough, and I enjoyed that. So because of that, my success in my first year, I volunteered to go to Airborne school, which is jumping out of airplanes. Now, I'll be honest, I did not know everything that led up to that and didn't let myself really think about what that meant. But there is several weeks of training, and in each week you kind of graduate to the next level. So you start at a 34-foot tower, and 34 feet has been chosen because that's where people really feel a sense of danger and fear of heights at 34 feet. So research tells us that. So that's where they have you jump out first. And you're attached to a line. You're learning how to fall properly, which is called a parachute landing fall, a PLF, so that you don't break anything when you do fall. And then the next week, you're parachuting from a 250-foot tower. Now, that's something I never could imagine until I saw pictures in our training manual and then arrived at Fort Benning, Georgia to see. So that's your first experience with free fall. And then finally, the third week, you jump out of an airplane 5 times. And talk about trust and teamwork. There's no better place to learn that and have that ingrained in your heart and in your soul than sitting on an airplane, following directions, everyone doing the exact same thing that they're being told to do, safety first, people always, and they will get you out that door safely and to a parachute landing fall where you've never felt something more exhilarating and something to be more proud of in your life. And that's Airborne school. So we say Airborne. And then the next summer, no one else wanted to volunteer. So I raised my hand to volunteer again. You're not supposed to be given more than one school in ROTC, but because no one else wanted to go, I raised my hand. I volunteered. I went to Master Fitness Trainer School. That was in Fort Bend, Harrison, which was located near Indianapolis. And it was a 4-week-long academic-driven course. Lots of anatomy, physiology, exercise science, being in the lab, working with researchers with their PhDs already, something I hadn't even dreamt of yet, as well as physical fitness every day. So you were being schooled and becoming the expert or the master in physical training for your unit. So that was a tremendous opportunity for me, and then set the course for me to pursue a master's degree in educational leadership because I was focusing on athletic administration, and then my PhD, which is in sport administration and higher education. And again, using the GI Bill to do those things.
What a neat set of experiences.
All by the time I was 20 years old. So where else can you do this but the military?
While you're in ROTC, the whole
exactly.
thing. That's very impressive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's go on to another big experience. Jake, This Army Baton Memorial Death March, this just sounds really challenging. Tell us what 26.2 miles looks like.
Right, of course. So 26.2 miles, it sounds daunting, but really it's not. Up until you get to about mile 20, and then you really start to feel every step. You really start to feel every single one of those miles. And you're wondering, man, I do not remember a mile feeling this long during any other time in my life. But it really is a great experience. And knowing that it all is for something greater than ourselves, than our units, than just us and our pain that we're doing. We're out there to represent something far larger than ourselves, soldier sacrifice, to remember the things that those soldiers in the island of Bataan went through during World War II, to really put ourselves in their position to feel something that they felt, to acknowledge the burden that we are picking up, that we are picking up where they left off, that we are continuing their legacy, continuing to honor their sacrifice. And this goes for all veterans, not just them, to be able to honor the fact that we are joining something larger, even though we are just cadets right now. Our service to our country hasn't fully started just yet, that we are picking up a legacy, that we are picking up the torch, carrying on something far greater than ourselves, and remembering those who have served before us. And it really helps to be able to do that, to be able to know that. That's really what kept me going for 26.2 miles, especially during those last few hundred steps. Those hurt. You really felt every single pinch and nerve in your body on those last few steps crossing over that finish line. But it helped tremendously to know that this wasn't just about me. That it's not just about me. It's not just about the four other cadets that I was fortunate enough to go with. It's not about the flight home, not about the flight there, anything like that. It's far greater than myself. But that really helped me to take my mind off of it and continue on Charlie Mike, as we say, continue mission and really see it out for this for the full duration of it. And something fantastic I was able to do. And hopefully we can get down there next year, represent Edinburgh and PennWest, put our best foot forward.
Count me in next time, Jake. Count you in.
Fantastic. Hey, well, hope we get some other people down there too, not just Edinburgh.
All right.
That is so impressive. Well, as we prepare, and I think it's neat that is a symbol not only, again, of physical exercise, but a passing of tradition, putting the weight on your shoulders that you now carry what others had before. So thanks for doing that, Jake. That's really impressive.
Absolutely.
As we prepare to wrap this up, I would like to hear from each of you. This is a time of the year when we celebrate Veterans Day. What does the United States of America mean to you? Timothy, let's start with you.
As everyone would say, I definitely agree that it's the country and the land of the free. And for me, as I moved to America when I was 17, it gave me a new set of opportunities in my life that I would have not experienced, be it joining the military and going to school here in America. But apart from that, like making a career and having that opportunity to make a career either in the military or in a personal field, and gaining that discipline that is going to help me get there. And these things I feel like for me is really huge, because without that, I might not be able to bridge that gap and get to the point where I become a doctor. So I think America and God, like it's got to be God who brought me to America, but he's given me this place to have that opportunity and bridge the gap to get there.
Thank you very much, Timothy. And Jake, what does the United States of America mean to you?
Absolutely. So I totally agree with what Timothy said. Just kind of build on that is opportunity, 100% opportunity. I tell myself if I had to redo it over again, I would choose being in the military every day of the week, twice on Sunday. This is something that I never thought I would do, never thought I would personally be capable of. But the fact of the matter is we have a fantastic military. We have fantastic opportunities here. And I'm so fortunate to be able to call myself a U.S. soldier, a cadet, a future U.S. Army officer. Fantastic opportunities that I have been given. Touching on what I said earlier, things that I never thought I'd be able to do, things that I never thought someone in my same situation would be able to accomplish. There was never any expectation that I would do something like this. It was something I put on myself, but only for the fact of the matter that I knew I could do it. I knew that I had the opportunities, and I knew that they were there. I had something to work for, that I had realistic things out there in my future, and schools such as PennWest are able to offer me those opportunities, not just on the military side, but also the civilian side. Going off of what I mentioned earlier with the simultaneous membership program as well, it's going to be kind of a mixed bag for me with sometimes military experiences, sometimes civilian experiences, and just kind of seeing how those intertwine. But I think both the military and PennWest are a fantastic starting point for both of those things. To start strong, to get a good, solid foundation, and to continue forward with that foundation to build on top of it for a even better, more successful career in the future. And like I said, I don't think I would personally chose a different route if I could. If I could redo it, I would have chose PennWest in the military 10 times out of 10, every single time.
Thank you very much, Jake. Dr. Kreis, let's finish with you. You have served this country for a long time, stayed very engaged in supporting people who continue to serve the country. What does the United States of America mean to you?
The USA means everything to me. I'm proud to be an American, and every single day I feel like I am doing something to continue to support veterans. And that is a part of who I am. I'm traveling to help a group of veterans in an athletic event. And this is a part of who I am in my everyday living. I also have to share that my daughter, as of Tuesday, is at officer training school for the United States Air Force. So she made the smart decision, as we say in the Army. She went Air Force. And it's not something that I ever imagined my daughter doing, but she has a tremendous opportunity to serve as an athlete for the Air Force. She will be in the world-class athlete program training for the next 3 years for the Olympics in Los Angeles in the sport of team handball. And there's nowhere else but the United States military that she can get real world experience as well as pursue this Olympic dream. And so it may not be for everyone, but I'm going to serve as the military's biggest recruiter, because there is something for everyone if you seek those opportunities. And you can only do this in the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kreis. We could not have summarized it better. Well, Dr. Kreis, Timothy, and Jake, this has been an honor, truly, to talk to you all about your service in the military, what this country means to you, as we set aside time as a country to celebrate Veterans Day. Thank you so much for being a part of the PennWest family and enriching the community in the ways that you do. And appreciate you joining the Power of PennWest podcast today. It was great to talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.